My specialty is in video marketing and in creating a strategy around video content to where when you create video content, it has a purpose and it has a longer shelf life, and it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you in prospecting and attracting the right clients for your business. It also has an effect to where you can expedite the sales process and also just answer a lot of the frequently asked questions that people ask you. And one of my clients, she's a rock star real estate agent, and we do a lot of video marketing for her. And we have a strategy whenever we go and shoot a home for real estate photography. We know how to bust out a lot of video marketing material, so that way she can go back and leverage on her social media and also on her site. And one of the people that she mentioned to me was Krista Mayshore. And I was looking at Krista Mayshore, and I've seen her in my Facebook feeds, and it was really interesting to see her take on real estate marketing into where it's more of video marketing and content marketing for real estate agents. Now, that's only one of the aspects that I've been able to, or one of the lights that I've been able to see her in. I'm sure there's other things that she does, but when I'm researching her content, a lot of it comes about video marketing and video content, which is great. And so watching this video was awesome and also refreshing to know that what I'm doing is actually on the right track for an agent to be successful when it comes to social media, their website, or just in content marketing in general. And there are a few points here that she made, and I'm like, you know what, this is great content, and we can even take it up to the next level. And in a sense, doing videos like this, where I'm watching videos, creating my outline, and then creating a commentary on it, it's great because this is another way for me to collaborate or even just bounce ideas from one person to me and see how else can we take this to the next level, or how else can we make this awesome or actionable. And one of the things that she says in here is that you want to be top of mind and you want to be relevant to people, and you want to be able to have them see you as the expert. And that's exactly the message that I've been trying to convey through my message when it comes to video marketing. Video is a great way for people to see you as the authority in your industry or in your expertise. And the more you are at top of mind, the more likely you'll be able to do business with them later on down the road, because they'll have all of these impressions in their minds of you, because they see you everywhere. They see you on the social media, and you're the go-to person whenever they need help. And what's great here is that I got some great ideas off of what Krista had mentioned. And one of the things is, for example, she says how to buy a home. If we were to go to Google and we go to how to buy a home, or let's go to buy a house, how to buy a house. We come right over here and she says, okay, people also ask. So this is how you create relevant content that is going to be on par with what people are searching for or what people are interested in currently. And this is exactly right. Google has this down to a science, like literally down to a science. And so when I type in how to buy a home or how to buy a house, we have these 4 questions here. Where do I start if I want to buy a house? How can I buy a house with no money? How much money do I need to buy a house? What are the stages of buying a house? All of this is a standalone video for each of these topics or for each of these questions that you can go back and do for your video marketing campaigns, which is great, because now that heavy lifting has been done. You no longer have to wonder what are people looking for or what topics can I talk about. Boom, right here, you have that information available to you. Now we scroll down even further. And generally down here, you're going to have some related searches. You have how to buy a house for the first time, how to buy a house with no money, how to buy a house, not Reddit, buying a house for dummies, how to buy a house with bad credit. So what I'm looking for here is something that's specific and something that has a lot of words in it. So how do I buy a house with bad credit is a lot longer than how to buy a house. How to buy a house? Well, it depends. Like, what's your situation? Well, how to buy a house with bad credit? That's a specific situation. How to buy a house out of state, or how to buy a house with a new job raise, or how to buy a house with no money down, or how to buy a house for the first time. So these are great examples for what you should be creating content around, specifically titling your video with this, okay? Another one. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to come to jo.my and then get video topics, okay? This is another site. that I use. And I use this all the time. So I'm going to type in how to buy a house, get questions. Now, this is doing exactly what I showed you on the Google search engine, except it's doing it multiple times, dozens of times, maybe even hundreds of times, and it's curating all of that information right here for you. So you don't have to go through one by one on the different variations, because you might leave out a variation. This has already thought up of all of those variations, okay? So all of these are video topics that you could potentially talk about when it comes to specifically how to buy a house. Now, if you're doing a new build, or if you're doing how to rent a property, or how to buy a multifamily home, or how to buy an investment property, or how to buy land, things of that nature, you can put it in here. And if that's your niche in your real estate market, then this will come up with a lot of the content material for you as far as like what are people looking for. Now it's your job as a subject matter expert to go through and identify the outlines for each of those titles or for each of those questions, and then just share it on video. And the quality, the video quality does not matter. Audio quality does somewhat matter, but what matters most is the value that you share with your audience. They're coming to you for a specific question. You need to deliver on that question, okay? So these are some examples here. How to buy a house with no down payment. Can't buy a house in, oh, hold on. Let's see here. Let's go to data here. What it takes to buy a house, how to buy a house at auction without cash. Do you know how to talk about that? Like, is that either your expertise, or do you know what goes into that? Who should buy a house? If you're renting, how do you know if you're ready to buy a house? A lot of people, surprisingly, because I work with a lot of real estate agents, surprisingly, a lot of people don't know that they can even afford a house. They think that you need 20% down, and that could be a misconception that you could chat about on video. Is here are the misconceptions of buying real estate. You know, you don't have to have 20% down. You can buy with 3.5% down for FHA, or better yet, if you get a rural housing or a rural house, then you may even qualify to not even put down a down payment. You know, and then on top of that, if you're paying $1,700 in rent, did you know that you could buy a house and maybe pay a mortgage of $1,200? Would it be better if you could own a house and pay $500 less than what you're paying right now? Yeah, and those could be talking points, right? And so she goes on, Krista goes on talking about the types of videos you can go off making and how to come up with these ideas, just kind of on a high level. I'm showing you a little bit more of a granular level of how to look for those homes. Yeah, and then she says, okay, go to local real estate forums, go through other websites, write down the top 10 questions that people will ask you, or pitfalls that you can share, the tips, or your successes and your failures in real estate. Share those stories and those anecdotes, because people, they tend to jive well better with stories than you just telling them a whole bunch of information. Now, YouTube likes a lot of longer form content. So one of the ways that you can stretch out your content is not just deliver the value, but maybe deliver an anecdote of how that value played out in real life, to give somebody kind of a real life situation of how that actually went down. And then the other thing here is put yourself on a schedule for your community. Go live and schedule on video. Now, one thing I would love to experiment with, right now I'm doing live videos just about every day, and I have over 30 or 40 videos that have gone live. Ironically enough, they've been live, but they've been like either at midnight or past midnight when nobody's up. And so I still have that like stage fright because it is live and it's unscripted, kind of like how this is. So I'm experimenting with that. And one of the things I would love to experiment more with is kind of like a scheduled live event. Okay, I'm going to go on Tuesday at 9 a.m. or I'm going to Tuesday at 1 p.m. I'm going to sit down for lunch. I'm going to be live for 15 minutes. I'm going to answer any of your questions that deals with real estate marketing or even video marketing. What is it you want to chat about? What are the questions that you have? What do you need validation on? Do you want just to collaborate? We can bounce ideas back and forth. Ideas are a dime a dozen. I'm really good at coming up with ideas. Execution, however, is another story, because that does take a lot of elbow grease, a lot of manpower, and a lot of sweat equity in order to get those ideas executed. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I have kind of in the back of my mind that I would love to experiment with. But again, it comes down to execution. And so put yourself on a schedule for your community. Put yourself on a schedule and an expectation to the people that want to follow you or that are looking for your services, and just say, hey, every day I'm going to post a video, or every Monday I'm going to be posting a video at 10 a.m. And that's going to go live. And one of the key things to posting consistent content is batch production. So batch filming or batch editing or batch design, all of those things, they do play a role into your content calendar. Check out your local newspapers or magazines. That's something that I haven't even considered, which is a really great idea. Because when you look through those newspapers and magazines, kind of like what I'm doing right here with YouTube and curating some of the content, distilling it into a video format in my own words, explaining kind of the things that I learned. You can do the same thing with newspapers and magazines, and even give a call out or a shout out to those magazine distributors, so that way they can somewhat get traffic and recognition for their hard work as well. And then y'all might be able to collaborate later on in the future on future projects to attract the clients that you're looking for that overlap in your fields or in your industries. Keep a list of ideas. That's kind of key. You want to keep that on your phone. My phone is my walking brain. I dump everything into that, and that kind of keeps track of everything, even my calendars, to-dos. One of the biggest hacks that I've been doing for the past few months, almost maybe I would even say over the past year, is calendar blocking. Whenever I have a task on my task list, I have to find a way to delegate time to that, or set aside time for that specific task and put it on my calendar when I'm not doing anything else. So that way I know that task has dedicated time to get done, and it will move forward. So any progress is progress, in my opinion. So that's the way that I work. Small progress, small baby steps, they all add up over time. Social media for top of mind. Yes, Google and YouTube. So these are my side notes right here. So Google and YouTube for discoverability. So give enough information. Use social media as a platform to be top of mind. Gary Keller, one of his books, The $1 Million Real Estate Agent, it explains that you have to be top of mind. You have like these certain touches throughout the year. I think it's like 33 touches, and there's like a whole formula around it where you want to touch everybody in your sphere of influence in order to be on top of mind. But really nowadays, because of the internet and social media, you have a tremendous amount of opportunity to be top of mind that is scalable. And when I say scalable, you're not writing down one-off notes. You're not making one-off phone calls. You're not knocking each door one at a time. What I'm saying is you create one piece of content and you distribute that out into social media, and now you're hitting your sphere of influence frequently and at a less cost and more efficiently, so that way you can go out and get and close the deals that drive the business forward. And so being in top of mind with social media and the internet, you also need to understand that on social media such as like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of those things are more of like interruptive. So you put out a piece of content, you're in people's news feeds without them really wanting you there or asking for you to be there. They just allow you to be there. That's interruptive marketing. Whereas Google and YouTube is more searchable content. So whenever you create a video, as I mentioned before, going to that one site, jo.my/getvideotopics, when you go there and you type in your keywords and it curates those questions, if you title your video or your content with that title of the questions and people are looking for that question, you will be more discoverable, and the intent to listen and to consume your content will be higher than being in somebody else's social media feed. And so when you title it in such a way to where it is discoverable, Google and YouTube are discoverable platforms where you can create a video once and be discovered over and over and over again. Now you transcribe that video, you put it into a comprehensive blog article, and now that blog article is getting crawled by Google to where when people type in Google, they're not only getting your video, but they're also getting your website. They're getting your written content. And both of those are discoverable content. And you want that to do a lot of the work for you as well, not just the one-off videos or one-off graphics or one-off microblogs that you put on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter just to kind of get that one-time hit. And so you want to be able to create content that you can repurpose over and over again, and being top of mind on social media is crucial now. And also having discoverable content on YouTube and Facebook, or on YouTube and Google, is a game changer. And right now, people are finding my site. Now, I'm not saying I'm getting thousands of hits, but I am getting dozens, if not hundreds of hits on my site. And I'm getting those hits to convert because I've automated my sales process with video. And so when you automate things, video can have a tremendous power in automating a lot of these things for you when it comes to video marketing, effective video marketing. And so, yeah, and just get started in producing content. She encourages her viewers just to get started. And what I would encourage you to do is take it a step further and just get started on your webcam, on your computer, or on your phone. Just do it without the thought of publishing it. Just do it just to get familiar with the camera, and then you can play it back to yourself, and then you can see yourself and study how you handle your posture, your poise in front of the camera. And that's even good feedback for you. It's kind of like, think of it like sports. If you ever played any sports, for me, I did wrestling, and I tried out for football. And in football, what we would do is we would watch the other team, or we would watch game day on film, just to study, okay, what did we do versus what did they do, and how can we improve, or what are their strategies? So we used video as an analytic to analyze whatever we were doing. Same thing when it came to training content. When I was a trainer for a corporation, we would even film our lectures to see, okay, I could have said this better, or I could have said this in a different way, or the audience really didn't resonate well with this, or we had a lot of questions with this. Video is a way to critique yourself. So even if you don't publish it, just film yourself to get started. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. And then just publish it on Facebook. Out of sight, out of mind. Just don't watch it again. I would encourage you, especially when you're starting out, do not watch your content again, because it is cringy at first. And that's completely normal. But you do have to give yourself permission just to stumble at the first little bit, to discover who you are as a person in front of the camera. The camera makes us somebody completely different. And it's something that you do have to discover over time, but it comes down to giving yourself permission to mess up, permission to fail, but you do have to start. That is the key component here. And then get a journal, create a schedule, and educate your community. So stay on top of mind by creating a system around your content creation. Create a system or a calendar schedule around the pieces of content that you want to produce. And the more you stick to that schedule, the more content you're going to get out that has more intent behind it, and that's more deliberate to your audience rather than just coming up with content on a whim. And so doing all of those things, I know it's like a water hose of information coming at you all at once, but it comes down to just starting to create content, publish your content, because the one that's publishing content is the one that's getting seen and heard, the one that's getting known. So if you want to be the agent, or if you want to be the business that gets seen and heard, you need to publish content no matter what, because that content, it's going to last online, especially that newer stuff. When you get it out there, it's going to start doing the work for you. It's going to accumulate over time. And let's say over a year, you publish 2 videos a week. Over a year, you have over 100 videos working for you. And so when people have questions, hey, check out my video. Here's a video link to the video that answers your question. And then here's another one that answers that question. And then you have all of this work already done for you. So think of it as your sales force. Think of it as your team without necessarily having to buy a team. You can do this all on a budget. And so anyways, I just wanted to come on here and just explain this video content ideas for real estate marketing by Krista Mayshore. An incredible person. I've watched a few of her videos already, and I'm just really loving the content that she has. And I just want to build on whatever she has here and just let you know my take on it and what I'm doing, what's working for me and my clients. So if you have any questions, let me know. Contact me at contact@benonchile.com, and I'll see you in the next video.